All right, everyone, welcome to 100% All Keys tournament for Zelda 2. This is the Ake group, Antii85 versus NES_Martin. Both players have just started. I will fix the timer in a little bit. Antii is 2-0, Martin's 1-0, but both of them include a bye, so they will both automatically given a win. Make their way into Magic Container Cave. We'll see if they can get this P-Bag here. And then we'll tell you a little bit about the runners and try to inform you on what they're looking to accomplish as they progress. All right, neither player got a P-Bag there, so a 50-point P-Bag drop would have went a long way to getting attack 4 when leaving Palace 1. Let's see if they can compensate. Neither player is electing to go to Trophy Cave early to get additional experience points. They're going into Raru. They'll get their first spell of the game, which is the Shield spell. Antii with a little bit of a lead here. Not much. It's very close, too close to call. Really will not open up until Palace 1 to see if the players get a P-Bags to set up the attack 4 when leaving Palace 1, or Death Mountain. Most important part of an All Keys run is to get limited encounters and to use your steps wisely. Each encounter is obviously a time sink, and you definitely don't want to do that. Let me know how the balance is between the audio of the game and my microphone as well, please. OBS wanted to update, and therefore all my settings were lost. Let me bring it down a little bit so I don't cap out. Right now, they're setting up the bubble skip. Antii hits it, and so does Martin. So in doing that, in taking the overworld encounter on that exact tile, they do not have to go through an encounter with a bunch of jumps and bubbles, risking death and, you know, obviously slowing down time. But they will have to do it in reverse. Doesn't save time to set it up, and it's not easily done as well. Most of the tricks these runners will do, or the runners in the tournaments as well will do, is to make sure that when they do it, they can easily repeat doing it, so that they can plan their runs accordingly and do it consistently every single time. Antii is the first one into Palace 1. Palace 1 has 3 keys. The item you need to pick up, which is the candle. Antii's on his way there now. The boss is Horsehead, and it yields 50 experience points. So what the runners want to do ultimately here is they want to set up for attack 4 when they leave this palace. But to do that, they need to get 2 P-Bag drops since they didn't get the original P-Bag, and kill a number of things along the way. Of course, getting hit by those tin suits there drain you a little bit of XP as well, so certainly you don't want to do that, but you also don't want to lose your beams either. Beams are very important in this palace, especially in the bubble room, to stun them and get through them effortlessly. So Antii kills the skeleton. So does Martin there. But they'll jump over this one. No, Antii's going to elect to kill this one. Could have possibly be new strategy I'm not aware of. No, Martin's going to kill it as well. Could possibly be new strategy I'm not aware of. I'm pretty sure you were jumping over those skeletons. But possibly since they did not get the initial P-bag, then it doesn't really matter there. Okay, Antii grabs the key here. And then he'll be making his way down the elevator to get the candle. I incorrectly said the candle was to the left before. I am mostly a randomizer player, so getting the rooms correct in the correct order with the correct item is going to be a little bit hard for me. But certainly I'll manage. So Antii is going to elect not to get the fairy there, being at 1 and 7/16 health now, 1 bar of health. You can see Martin jumping in the wall there. That sets up a jump where he can easily jump over that bubble. And here's the room you would most likely want the beams in. But anybody in this tournament should know how to stun those bubbles without the beams. Antii getting trolled there a little bit by the bot. If you get that initial P-bag in Magic Container Cave, you would want to kill bots to boost your XP. About 8 to 10, I believe it is. And that would also set up the 200-point P-bag drop on that enemy right there. Antii gets it. Let's see how Martin does. Martin also gets a P-bag, so both of them got the first P-bag they need. And they'll need a second one for attack 4 when they leave the palace. Both players also took life 2. Again, that could be a strategy maybe when you don't get that initial P-bag. Sometimes it's hard to tell if you watch people do PB runs because they'll constantly reset until they get the P-bag, so you don't know exactly what their strategy would be when they don't get the P-bag. I know a viable solution is to just redo Palace 1, heading right for the boss, and then place the gem for attack 4. Other players will just elect to go into Death Mountain with attack 3. It all depends on the runner. Their comfort level, their personal preference, stuff like that. Alright, so this room will determine if Antii is going to get attack 4 or not. The second enemy, the Iron Knuckle, the Dark Nut, will either drop a bag or a red jar. And Antii gets the bag here, so he's going to be set up perfect for attack 4. Yes, because he'll get 50 points on Horsehead. That was Martin going to fare. Martin gets the red jar, so Martin's going to be at a disadvantage here. Heading out of Palace 1. Both players did not lose a life, but Antii having attack 4 is a great advantage at this point. And there he is. He's going to leave at 4-1-2. So he's going to walk on down. Head on back the way he came, and then head on over to Trophy Cave and pick up the jump spell on his way to, well, to the middle part of the continent. Oh, Martin did die? Okay. Sorry about that. I did miss that. For those who don't know, this is a Swedish rivalry here. This is the rematch of the World Championship of the World of Sweden randomizer tournament, in which Ness Martin beat Antii in a close and thrilling finish that happened in January. In checking the history between these two runners, they are 3-3 against each other. Antii has won all 3 100% all keys runs, and Martin has won all 3 randomizer runs. So Clearly, the advantage is for Antii here. See Martin picking up the trophy. Martin is known to pick up the trophy in randomizer and then forget he has it, leading to a one-time inclusion of a meme where the town of Rudo, where Antii is right now, was considered to be Martin Town. But Martin's real life has prohibited him from streaming as much as people want him to stream. So thus we've yanked the title away from him, and he's got to earn it again. Yeah, they're gonna do a what do we call this here? Is that a virtual spoon? As they pass each other, a little bro hug, a one arm reach around, you know. Pull them in, smack the back, and then, you know, walk away. Acknowledge each other's presence. That's all they had to do right there. And Antii's going to be the first into Jump Cave. 3 screens here. Obviously, with a 100% all keys tournament, you have to get all the items, all the spells, all the keys. All right, Antii's gonna get through Jump Cave clean, and he's gonna set up the Bagoo walk. One of the most critical parts of the game here is to get to Bagoo's house, or his shack, cabin, whatever you want to call it, with as minimal amount of encounters as possible. Antii already takes 1. Taking an encounter kind of messes you up going forward as well. As you can see that, Antii immediately takes a second one. Okay, he's going to go from underneath there. So 2 encounters on the way. This is where Martin can make up time if he did not go to the ferry. He misses the ferry. 2 cycles the ferry. And he's going to be on his way to Bagoo. It's going to reset the encounter. The steps involved. So you see Martin has a little bit of a different path, different routing than Antii does. That's probably because Martin has not been practicing this game and is not up to date on maybe newer techniques, hasn't figured out newer strategies and stuff like that, and he's still not a wrong strategy path per se, but Antii does stream this game every day. So he can fine-tune and tweak his route as needed, figure out some stuff based on himself playing and the community. We saw that with last tournament as well. We saw runners in last tournament doing like Red Candle strats, the Red Candle website strats, whereas those were like, 5 or 6 iterations older than the newer strats. There's the 3rd spell of the game, the life spell. Could certainly be handy in Death Mountain. Both players, since they did Palace 1 first, it will not be a candleless, dark Death Mountain. Antii shows the Bagoo's note to the Riverman. He'll be able to cross to get to Death Mountain now. And there he goes. And since Antii is 4-1-2, I'm not exactly sure what he's going to do with his leveling here. He's probably going to keep all the... We'll see here. And he does take magic too, alright. Now I expect him to bank all the XP towards attack 5. And make it so that he leaves Palace 2 ultimately with 6-2-3. as his levels. And again, he's going to be doing this at attack 4, where Martin's going to have to do it at attack 3. So the advantage Antii has, the lead he has now, is going to grow a little bit, because not only is he going to kill things slower, but Martin also puts himself at risk of getting hit more, which will knock Link back and cause him to lose some time that way as well. So one of the first real bad enemies right there for Antii is the Red Dyra, but attack 4 makes it pretty much irrelevant. Just the one thing he does have to avoid is chip damage. This is one of the screens where chip damage could build up with that gorilla and with these bats as you're trying to kill the Orange Dyra, but Antii got out of there, no problem. In 2 screens, he'll also get a red jar, so he can cast life as well. There's also the magic jar he'll get after he gets the hammer, so he can cast life at that point as well. So plenty of ways for Antii to take chip damage and refill his health. See how Martin handles this Red Dyra at attack 3. Still handles it fairly easy. And there's the life cast and the red jar pickup, and he's going to be on his way to Hammer Cave. Gets a nice double attack in there, nice neutral jump. It's one of the things you see that separates the really good runners from the just good runners is their ability to do double attacks and such. Really cuts down the risk of getting hit, dying, and overall just killing the enemy faster is always good. All right, Antii's in the screen with the hammer here. There's 2 enemies here. Is the Orange Dyra and another Red Dyra. Gets another P-Bag drop as well. That's 2 P-Bag drops he got in Death Mountain. Due to iframes and like inputs, I don't know if a triple hit is possible. Unlike a single jump, because you're hitting him on the way up, hitting him on the way down, and I don't think it leaves any room to swing the sword in between, and if it did, there might be just too many invincibility frames for a third hit to even connect. But certainly one of the more experienced people in the chat may be able to answer that question. All right, Antii's going to leave here, and he's going to go use the hammer for the first time on the boulder and grab this magic container. Puts him up to 6. And magic containers are important for those who've never really played the vanilla version of the game, the regular version of the game. Magic containers dictate what spells you can get in what town. If you have 5 magic containers, you can get the spell in Nubaru. If you have 6 magic containers and the kid, you can get the spell in Darunia. 7 gets you the spell in New Kasuto, and 8 will give you the spell in Kasuto. So no matter what, you have to have those magic containers to get those spells. And even if this wasn't a 100% run, they would still need 8 magic containers in a non-glitch category to be able to cast Thunder to beat the game. People used to do a Panic Dolphin attack on Thunderbird, where they would jump at Thunderbird and just, smash the controller left and wiggle the controller left and right and get additional hits that way. So yeah, that may be possible. Alright, there is a 1-up at the exit of Death Mountain, but Antii is not going to get it. He's going to set up this this walk here to Medicine Cave. He probably will get the one up outside of Medicine Cave since it's only one tile away. The Medicine Cave, you get the medicine item or the Water of Life, which will enable you to get the spell in the next town of Mido, which is the fairy spell. With losing life, let's see what Martin does here with the 1-up outside the graveyard. Let's gotta get through one more screen here. It's amazing to see people who run in any percent category that does a Dark Death Mountain do that screen at attack 1, life 1. Martin is going to go get the 1-up here as Antii grabs the other. Simultaneous 1-upping. It's one of the more exciting things you're going to see in this race right now with this lead. That is certainly Antii's to win, or Antii's to lose, I should say. Martin takes an encounter on the way to Medicine Cave, so that's going to mess him up a little bit, lose a little bit more time there. And we are in the town of Mido here for the first time. So 2 things to do here, like I mentioned before. The medicine, which Martin is going to get right pretty soon. You trade that in for the 4th spell, the fairy spell. But more importantly is you're going to grab the sword technique, down stab. Which is very useful to the runners, not only in combination with the glove to smash some blocks and get to some additional places where you normally can't. But the overall... Later on in the palaces, when you have enough XP, you don't need the farm, you don't need to kill everything. You can just pogo over enemies and save a bunch of time there. See Martin grab the Water of Life right now. And Antii is going to the next screen here. Will he get the fairy? So yeah, Antii does have some great XP now because of those pbag drops he got in Death Mountain. Again, there becomes a point in time where too much experience points is really like a moot factor. Or moot point, I should say. You don't want to get too many levels in certain places to upset the balance of how much XP you need in the next palace to reach the next milestone and stuff like that. It's a very... It's like almost like an artistic line to draw of what you want to be coming out of what, and it varies very little depending on your situation, like not getting the initial P-Bag in Magic Container Cave and stuff like that. So Antii's going to walk to Palace 2, but he's going to make a detour here. It is 100%, so we got to pick up this heart container here, this boulder block heart container. And then we'll finally be on our way to Palace 2. Another thing you'll see runners do is to cast Fairy before they grab an item. When you cast Fairy and pick up an item, you save frames of animation where Link would normally stand there with the item above his head to show everyone what he got, breaking the fourth wall. But when you cast Fairy, you can just bump into the item and go the other way and lose 0 frames. Nice little pause buffer there by Antii to make sure he missed that encounter. Grabs the encounter on the road tile, which counts as like a half encounter for those who are timing things. Grabs another one there. Half encounter because it takes half the amount of time to walk out of a road encounter than it would to go through a full encounter. So you head on over to Palace 2 now. Palace 2 features 4 keys. And like I mentioned before, Antii's probably going to want to leave here at 623, which means grabbing an attack level, which is only 136 points away. Grabbing the life level, Life 3 being 150 XP. And then setting himself up to get over the threshold to grab attack 6 when he places the gem, which he'll need probably 200 XP to do. With Helmet Head giving you 200 XP and the threshold for Life 4 being 400 XP. Martin is done with Mito. He is going to go to Heart Container Cave now and then be on his way to Palace 2. Both are at equal levels now. And again, those levels do balance out later on in the game. Probably starting around exiting Palace 2. But the initial needing to do Death Mountain at Attack 3 certainly cost Martin. You can see his lead, or Andy's lead, growing over time. Andy grabbing the first key there. Or the second key, I'm sorry. He's going to go back up the elevator and go left. That's how Martin does on this walk to Palace 2. He's just going to straight tank it. And he has arrived. So Anti got his attack 5 level. Certainly expect him to grab life 3 here with when he gets 150. That's the third key of the palace. Grab the key fairy. You don't have to worry about waiting for the bots to jump and move and the dripper and everything. You can just straight go. There you go. We're going to poke over some enemies. Kill a couple here. We're going to pick and choose what we kill now. Again, the only goal he has to do is he has to get up to 200 XP before the boss. So that when the boss gives him 200, he can cancel the life 4 level up and take attack 6 at the gem. And for those who don't know, when you place a gem, you get the next available level to you. So that's why you'll see people skipping levels to maximize how much XP the gem gives them at the end. Certainly a strategy we all wish we knew as a kid. Instead of just farming grass encounters, hoping we get that 1 in 8 chance at a 50-point P-bag after 6 bot kills. And there's our item in Palace 2, the glove. The glove will let you break certain blocks with your sword. There's also a red jar in that statue that I've seen people get from time to time. And it may seem obvious, but the walk to get the glove can pose a problem since blocks that you normally would break with a glove drop in front of you. You do stand the risk to get soft locked in there. And any soft lock game over situation in this game, you have to go back to the room where you took the game over to for it to be a valid run. Of course, in that situation, you would have to go to that room anyway. And Martin gets knocked off, gets saved by the power mapper menu. That's a little trick that Martin picked up. When you're about to get knocked into lava, hit all the buttons and hope you come back as a fairy. And certainly he did that, so nice work there. He's got a lot of practice with that. Last key in the game, in the palace here for Anti. And he's going to be on his way to Helmet Head pretty shortly. It's just down elevator, trip to the right, and he'll be there. He needs 44 more experience points, which is basically just one orange iron knuckle. Or basically any large enemy kill here. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, everyone. It's a lot of fun. There's this P-bag here as well, but now he only needs 2 XP. Martin's going to maybe... Nope, he makes it through. And there's a red Iron Knuckle kill for Antii, and he's at the required amount of XP. So when he kills Helmet Head, he will walk out of here 6-2-3. Martin has a little bit of work to do to get there. He still needs to be able to get to attack 5 as it stands now. As he's picking up the glove, and Antii is at the boss fight here, Helmet Head. Howie Mandel for some people. There you go. We're going to skip attack. We're going to skip life 4. And then grab 2,452 XP at the gem. Not bad. And just like he was the first in, Antii is going to be the first out here. Playing very well. It's now time to talk about all the ways maybe Antii could give Martin a reason to catch up. Deaths will certainly play a part, although his deaths will most likely be planned from here on out. And even in those deaths, he's not going to be losing a lot of time. He's going to be saving time because they're going to come at a point in time where by taking the death, you're going to go back across the room quicker than if you were to walk through. So, Antii is 2-0. That is his record in the tournament. Martin is 1-0. That is his record in the tournament. Both players have received an automatic win because there's a bye. They have a bye in their division. There's an uneven number of players in the tournament, so every player in that group got a automatic win for the win-loss record. So Antii makes his way down through the King's Tomb area, the graveyard, finds a secret drop that you need fairy from the town of Mido to get through. He's already picked that up. He waits there to set up the encounter to slink through, and he's in Palace 3. Entering at 6-2-3, he most likely wants to leave here at 7-3-3, but since he got that extra life level and did not have the initial P-bag at Magic Container Cave, I don't know if that changes things. Probably not at this stage. Martin takes his time going down that collapsible bridge to get that, and it's a bad spot right there to get a level up. When you want to jump and the menu shows up, it could potentially spell doom where you think you're taking the level up and you're mid-jump when you're not, or it just forces you not to jump. There's also some places in the game where you may want to queue up a spell, and the level up screen happens, and when you try to queue up the spell, like hit start for the menu, you'll accidentally take a level. Those things can happen. I've seen them happen. It happened to Antii this week as well. So if you want to talk about things that may happen, that may upset the balance of this game and cause Martin a chance to get back, mismenuing in a level up situation is potentially one of them. Antii picks up a key there. There are 4 keys in Palace 3. Martin places the gem in Palace 2, so it's got a lot of work to do here. Again, these players are 3-3 in matches that involve each other, but the key stat being that Antii is 3-0 in all keys races. They have a big difference in PB. Antii is, let me see where I found it on my notes here. Antii is 7th in the world overall in 100% all keys category, according to speedruns.com, which may or may not be up to date, depending on other runners not submitting times and stuff like that. The item in Palace 3 is the raft here, and that will help you get off the western continent of Hyrule. Antii just picks it up. Antii's PB, or submitted PB, is 1 hour, 16 minutes, 27 seconds. Martin has a time of 1 hour, 22 minutes, 36 seconds at 48th place overall. So roughly, do a little quick math here, a 6-minute difference between the two. Those are PB runs, though, and PB attempts. So when things don't go the way you want them to, you do reset. Here, you just got to take it as it lies. Play it as it lies. but Antii did get the double P-bag in Palace 1. He'll grab another key here. My favorite enemies of the game, the red polar bear heads. There's nothing unfair about them. And everybody can walk through rooms and not take damage from them. See Martin in Palace 3 now, too. Don't want to ignore Martin's attempts here of getting through Palace 3. I believe I'm a little bit too much focused on seeing how Antii handles the lead. And certainly he's handling it very well right now. By the way, the one win Antii had in the tournament that wasn't the automatic win for having a bye in the group was against John Wayne. Antii finished at 1 hour and 18 minutes and 58 seconds. John Wayne was 1 hour, 19 minutes, 52 seconds. So about a minute difference there. Is boss number 3, Rebonek. I think Ness Martin calls him Lance Heist Pla. Believe I nailed that. And here we go, 7-3-3 coming out of Palace 3, just like the rules of the tournament dictate. Antii takes an encounter on the island on the way out. Martin's too good for that P-bag. Again, there comes a point in time, and we are at it, where even though Martin gets 2 P-bags there, it doesn't matter. Because you just want to exit this palace at 7-3-3 anyway. Any additional XP is just, you're wasting your time to go back and pick it up. And Antii will be making his walk to the raft spot, raft tile, whatever you want to call it. The dock. And heading on over to the Eastern Continent. Eastern Continent's where all the magic happens. So Antii had a good lead in this first race as well against John Wayne. And then the Valley of Death happened. The walk to Great Palace. And Antii, for the lack of a better term and not to make excuses for him, he just messed that up beyond belief and let John Wayne back into the race. In fact, John Wayne, I believe, at one point took the lead in the walk to the first cave of the Valley of Death and then couldn't set up an encounter skip himself, which was Antii's problem. I think he missed 4 of them on the first encounter. So certainly anything could happen, including getting through this room Martin's in without getting hit by these stupid polar bear heads. But that doesn't happen for anybody. Tanunubaru. Get the fire spell. Everyone loves the fire spell. Most swaggiest spell in the game. Costs 60 at magic level 3. But if you're persistent, it will go down to 16 at magic level 8. And you can cast it 8 times if you want to. At the end of the game. That's every player's goal, I believe. Antii will top off his magic right there and head on out and go through the first cave on the Eastern Continent, the Nubaru Cave, if you want to call it that. Three flying enemies in this cave. And one large, quote-unquote, large enemy at the end of the cave, and that's all there is to it. Now we gotta walk over to Maze Island. So this is another, with the Bagoo walk, this is another tricky, long walk, and something you want to set up properly, as Martin downs Lance Heist Pla. Nailed it again. Take a minimal amount of encounters as impossible, and you can skip some forced encounters as well, if you set it up properly. Let's see how Antii does there. First, you want to pick up the kid on Maze Island to then go to the town of Darunia, where turning in the kid will get you the spell of Reflect or Reflex, if you will. That will help you defeat the boss in Palace 4. Not help you, that's required to beat the boss in Palace 4. So here's the beginning of the walk for Antii here. First thing you want to do is you want to go in here, grab the 1-up, and then with the animation or whatever, you can set up this walk here on the beat of the music, and then start to make your way towards Darunia. I believe this is called the Dazzle Walk, if it doesn't have a different term by now. You can slink through all these enemies, and then what should happen here is that before he steps up there, he'll set up an encounter to spawn so he can take it on that tile and skip that dangerous forced encounter. And he'll do the same here. There's a second encounter there. And nicely done. He skipped both of them, got the clean walk right there, and he's in Darunia, where he's going to do 2 things here. One, again, turn in the kid for the spell of reflex, and then also get the sword technique upstab. Top off his magic, and what he's going to do here is he's going to set it up to cast whatever he needs to cast on an empty bar of magic, because when you use the healer, or either healer, magic healer, or life healer in the town, it gives you 255 MP or HP. Maybe I can't verify the HP because I don't know a way of testing that, but it gives you 255 MP. So by doing it with a low bar, he's casting Fairy there and doing the Fairy Claws trick where you hold down before you cast Fairy and the game assumes you're pressing down. So you can go down the chimney using Fairy instead of using jump and going around, or super jump, if you will. But in the meantime, he's casting Fairy before his magic bar fills, so it will continue to fill, and he can walk out of there with full magic. Doesn't have to backtrack. Doesn't have to suffer not having a full bar when he leaves the town, I guess. Very useful. And here is the house where he's going to turn in the kid to get the spell of reflex. Slow text is slow. But there you go. There's the reflex spell. Now he's going to make his way back to Maze Island, which is another walk and another hike in itself, where you also want to skip those 2 encounters in the desert of love, and then you make your way to the Maze Island area with 0 encounters. One of the harder things to do is to adjust for fairies that spawn, and I see them quite frequently in this area. Here comes skip number 1. He whiffs, but he's just going to go through it anyway. This is the harder of the 2 desert encounters because it has the bubbles. Certainly not entirely dangerous, but you jump at the wrong time when the bubble spawns at the wrong time, and it's devastating. And here's attempt number 2. He nails this one, so he'll just walk out of this encounter. And Martin's about to set up the walk to Darunia. So he's got a lot to live up here. Lot to live up to, because Antii made it through with 0 encounters and skipped both encounters on the first time. Antii does miss an encounter and take an encounter on the way to Maze Island, though, and this is going to screw him up the rest of the way, so he's got to be careful. Wants those things to spawn on the grass tile because they'll spawn further away than if they spawn on the forest tile. You can see they're very bunched up there, but it's a back spawn, and Antii gets right through that. It looks like Martin did it effortlessly as well. Got the first encounter. Antii paused there for a little bit. I don't know if that's a buffer or if that's a thing. I'll check in 1 second to make sure that wasn't a desync. There's the second item on Maze Island, the magic container. So the Maze Island has several spots in it where you'll take a forced encounter, a spike tile, if you want to call it that. But the way you can route it is you can take a longer way and only pick up the magic jar and take this forced encounter. So you can make it so there's only 1 forced encounter. And you just walk around. That saves you time. Obviously, when you're playing this game the first time, you don't know which way to go. You don't know what has the less encounters and stuff like that. You don't know what you're really doing. But after so many years and so many runs of this game, it's amazing that people still find a way to min-max their time. Upstab acquired for Martin. He's going to go ahead and get into the house here and grab reflex. Antii is in Palace 4 here. Palace 4 has 6 keys, and like I mentioned before, it's going to be there are going to be certain areas where Anti's going to take an intentional death to save time so he doesn't have to backtrack. And most of those are after, well, all of those are after picking up a key. He has not died yet. He's picked up the 1-up in front of Medicine Cave. He got the 1-up in front of Maze Island. So he's running on 2 extra lives right now. I wouldn't be shocked to see him Death Warp at least 2 times, maybe 3. Depending on how he's feeling. And one of those times is going to come at the end of this screen. As soon as he picks up this key. Well, he grabs the jar, and he gets the magic refill, so he's going to walk out of here. I don't know if that's because he grabbed the jar. And now he doesn't have to refill his magic with the death. If that was an Iron Knuckle, I'm not too sure he wouldn't have just jumped in the lava there. But he'll take the drop here, and he'll go right, and he's going to pick up the item in Palace 4, which will be the boots. Grabs life 4. Again, he entered 733. Probably going to leave here at 834. So that's the only level he's going to take inside of the palace. Now he's got to get up to... Where does he have to go here? He has to go up to 499 XP, I believe. Because Carrick will give him 301 XP. And he's got to get over the 800 point threshold to get attack 8. Martin's making his way towards the magic container on Maze Island. Certainly not in a position for Antii to take a death during the run of play and benefit from it as far as lead change, but anything to close this gap will be probably preferred on Martin's end right now. And there is our first intentional death. He queues up jump on the way out before he dies. Saves a little bit of time there. And he's going to backtrack now. He's going to pass the elevator, go left, and get one of the remaining keys. That's key number 3. As Martin's going to make his way into Palace 4 right about now. And let me take this opportunity to see if our players have desynced a little bit. No, it still looks like we're running at... Yeah, you know, we got a little bit of a... Martin takes a death right there. Let's pause it. So we can get them at least desynced according to their timer. Resynced according to their timer, and there we go. So, we're back now. So it's the second death for Martin during the run. And it was on the opening screen on the Iron Knuckle you spawned in the statue, so I don't know if he was just screwing around, or if he wanted to gain that, or if he had a need to gain that experience. I don't think he did, honestly. Just like maybe a tick. We all have them when we play the game, whether it's jumping and stabbing the wall, or jumping to the beat, or entering a palace that has possibly a jar or Iron Knuckle. He could have possibly used the magic as well. I didn't see what his life magic bar was at before he hit the statue. So, not to say he was screwing around, but he certainly took a death. That much I'm convinced of. So Martin took that level and kind of threw his head back, which makes you think that he took it on accident. But at the same time, as far as I know, you do want life 4 there, and he's in a position where he can just kill a few things and get to the attack 8 threshold, no problem. So I don't know what he was really worried about there. So while the PB may not be on the table, the PB for number of bathroom breaks for Ness Martin is still there. He's at 0 right now. I can't tell you the last time I did a Martin restream that included 0 bathroom breaks. That's not a meme. That's actual fact. And there's Andy taking a second intentional death. And Martin's at the boots, so... Still a lot of ground to catch up here. He can gain ground a little bit here on the Carrick fight if he gets good RNG and Antii gets a little bit bad RNG. But that's very small in the scope of things. And Martin takes another death there. He has 1 life left. Oh no, he's got plenty of lives left because he grabbed the extra life in the graveyard as well. My bad. And here you go, the Carrick fight. Cast Reflect, get in its grill, and then just kind of bunker down on the right-hand side of the screen. Here goes Carrick. Carrick will display 300 points of XP, but they actually gives you 301. You can see his bar went from 5 in the ones column to 6. Doesn't matter. That 1 didn't matter. Antii is going to take attack 8 and leave here with an 8-3-4. Martin's going to do the same, though. So if you're just joining us, the difference here in terms of Antii's position and Martin's position is because Antii got double pbagged in Palace 1 and was able to take attack 4. Martin had attack 3 through Death Mountain, and Martin also has taken 3 deaths. He may make it out of this screen, though, without getting hit by a polar bear. Oh, okay. So, as far as I know, and as far as Twin Galaxies knows, nobody has ever made it through that room without taking damage. There's the attack 8 for Antii, and he is in Palace 5. Palace 5, one of the longer, more monotonous palaces. Yeah, I paused there because I wanted to show Antii doing the Eco Key, and he very nicely done. So you can, instead of casting Fairy in that room and making your way up and around, you can cast Jump, get hit by, take damage from the bubble, and get knocked onto the platform. The advantage of that is that at Magic 3, Jump is 32 magic points as opposed to 60 for Fairy, so it might help that Red Jar mitigates that, nullifies that point. But at the very least, when you cast Fairy, you've got to leave the room and come back because there's a key on that ledge that you have to get. If you can do Eco Key and damage boost on top of the ledge, you can grab the key as you go. You don't have to double back for it, and that saves a bunch of time. See Martin getting the second key in what people call the Minecraft room. Oh, Antii 2 cycles that key. And he's able to cast Fairy and go through. So if... I was going to say, if he didn't get that red jar, he might not have been able to cast Fairy there. And that saved him a little bit of time. So the Eco Key is just, you know, all around good. Saves you magic, saves you time in another room going forward. So 5 is very long. It's a very long and windy path to the item, which is the flute, or recorder, or horn, whatever you want to call it. But it's also a very windy path to a key as well. That's just way out of the way. Not too dangerous, but there are Magos around that can really trip you up. Depending on where they spawn, you can jump into them, walk into them, walk into the fire. 2 of them spawn and they put fire on the ground that you can't avoid because you're just holding right or left on the D-pad. Even 100% all keys tier 1 god V Resner sometimes gets tripped up in Palace 5 because of Magos. But he casts shield, so sometimes that helps him. So we go here. Down is to the flute, and we're going to go do that first. Got some red polar bears in here, and Magos, and he does jump right into a Mago, so that just... it puts a little bit of an emphasis in my point of how you have to be careful. Martin takes another death there. I could not see if that death was intentional to get magic back so he could cast Reflect, or if he just got, quote-unquote, trolled by Carrick. but I would be interested in knowing if somebody could fill me in there. He does beat Carrick now. Antii runs into another Mago. He was out of magic. Okay, thank you. That is a place where people can take an intentional death there. Which is why I did not assume he just died. If this was a randomizer run, I would just assumed he died. But if it was a randomizer run, he probably would have forfeited by now anyway. And that's more commentary towards Martin forfeiting a lot of races than it is categories, by the way. Antii 3 cycles that key, giving Martin a little bit of a chance to catch up here. According to their timers, they are by the second synced, yes. Antii has his lead based on attack 4 coming out of Palace 1. Got a double P-bag again. Martin did not. He had to do Dark Mountain Palace 3. Martin has taken 4 deaths. At least 1 intentional. See, Martin does not do the Eco Key. He's got to get through this room using Fairy, which also means he has to come back. And he's also being careful with these bubbles. These bubbles, not only do they cause damage, but they drain your magic. And if he wants to cast something going forward, he'll have to be careful not to lose it. Palace 5 does have 5 keys. It is the last palace that naturally has keys on the ground for you to pick up. Palace 6 does have keys, but they all come with within defeating the boss and the sub-bosses. Gonna go down here, gonna go left. We're gonna pick up the last key. And then we're gonna head up back that same elevator and go to the boss. The boss is Carrick. No, not Carrick. Guma. Certainly gonna be no problem at attack 8. See, Martin does that room a little bit better than Antii, but he doesn't have the magic to cast Fairy to leave it. And that's why he didn't want to get hit by the bubble. He needed all his magic, or not all of his magic, but he needed at least 32 magic points, which is 2 full bars, to cast Jump in that room to get that key. If you don't have it at that point, you can wait for those blocks to line up so you can jump up there, but it's just at a huge time loss and huge RNG. Okay, Antii's going to go up, and he's going to go right, and 2 screens over is going to be Guma. Guma, again, also gives 300 XP displayed, but it's actually 301. And Antii just needs to pass that. He just needed 900 XP there to total. Now, while he's not going to take Attack 9, Attack 9 would just give you a free guy, an extra life. He's going to set it up where he's going to get Attack 9 worth of XP and then distribute that between life and magic on his way out of here. Probably taking himself to 866 when it's all said and done. And he's going to make that U-turn there to pick up this heart container. Again, one of the nicer things about using Fairy there is, again, there's no animation when you pick up the heart. And since he's going to get a natural level up in magic when the counter dictates it, when he's prompted to, he'll get his full bars back. So there's no loss there of time. Just going to set up this walk down here to the boulder. Clip that bush right there. That's basically like a Swedish gang sign there. He's tagging the forest, I believe they call that. And now he's leveling up here. He goes 1 magic, he goes 2 life. And he'll take the next magic as well. So 866, and he's going to cancel now. And again, same premise here in Palace 6 is he's going to get an attack 9 worth of XP. Martin's going to make his way down to what I believe is the flute. I kind of lost track of where Martin was. Did he I believe he picked up the key on the ledge first before the flute. Yes, this is not the World Championship of the World of Sweden. That was in January 2017. This is a rematch in a different category. This is one of those places Antii is right now where you want to take as few encounters as possible. He's taken one. Doesn't get the back spawn, but he gets a carrot to spawn. But the carrot moves right back into him, so he'll enter Bonner Pass with 2 encounters. One of the only places here where it's acceptable to cast fire without swag points included is there. It makes it a little bit easier to go through. Certainly as intended by the game. And we're going to use the hammer and uncover the hidden town of Kasuto here. This is town number 7. We're going to get our 7th spell. Of course, you cannot get this spell unless you have 7 magic containers, but based on where they're placed in the world, you get it very early, so it's hard not to miss. It's hard to miss it. And the spell in this town is the spell, which you use at the end of town to erect a hidden building, which gives you an item. There it is. It costs 32 at Magic 6. So Magic 6 is a decent level because it reduces the cost of the spell, reduces the cost of Reflect, and reduces the cost of Jump by a little bit. And there we go. Pose was not that good. I know like some people like to really rate the poses there, but not really that good. But we'll get the item anyway. It is the magic key. Downstab pose is preferred. Upstab pose is fine. I like the swaggy lean back, the Fat Joe pose myself. It's hard to pull off though. Yeah, we can simplify that rating and give him a 1 out of 5 as well. See, this is the point of the run where Martin's going to try to grab every red, make it known that he knows where red jars are. And because we have 7 magic containers, the lady lets you into her house to grab the 8th magic container. So there's 2 things blocking items in this town. One being you have to have the required amount of magic containers, which is 7. Which again, you also need for this to get the spell in this town, and you also need to know the spell. So, 7 magic containers gates everything in that town. See Martin completing Palace 5 now, as Antii's making his way back through Bonner Pass. It is a good point, Joe, that you bring up where if you're doing a crouching pose without downstab, that could be kind of tricky. I'll give you that one. 3.5 out of 5, yeah. It's not bad. See, Antii pause buffering there. Again, you don't want to take too many encounters on your way to pick up this last heart container, which is right about there. And there you go. Full complement of heart containers and magic containers now. And he's going to make his way on over to Palace 6. But where is it? Everyone knows where it is. There's no shock if you're watching this. Use the flute right there in between the 3 rocks, 3-eyed rock, and there goes Palace 6. Again, Palace 6 has no natural keys on the ground. Just the 3 keys you'll get from the boss fights and the mini-boss fights. So Martin messed up that walk a little bit. He did not tag the forest, and he did not set it up to skip the encounter, the Wilson encounter, the Heidi-Ho neighbor. And I don't think he got it there either. I think it's 1 more down. Yeah, he's just going to go through it now. He's already wasted 2 attempts at it. Not really much to say about Palace 6 other than you're going to leave here with attack 9 experience, which he's already set himself up for. And part of getting the experience in Palace 5, it overflowed to getting at this point right here. If you're starting at 0, you have to get yourself up to... What is Barba give you, 1,000? Yeah. No, 700. So you have to get yourself up to 2,900 XP to get the attack 9 amount of XP. But with the overflow of Palace 5, it was no big deal to do that. And here's the first mini-boss. It's a refight of Rebonek. Not sure if it's the same one or not. We'll call him Lance Ploth 2. But very easy to kill at attack 8. This one guards the item in the palace, which I'll leave a little bit of suspense for. Hey, it's the cross. Cross allows you to see hidden enemies, and despite what you thought for 30 years, does not factor into opening the gate at Great Palace. I repeat, it does not open the gate at Great Palace. Doesn't matter how long you've thought of that. And he tries to grab a jar in that statue. It's a red iron knuckle instead. And he's going to make his way back through what they call the Canadian Hole Room. Legend has it that anybody who's Canadian falls in that room at least once a run. Martin arrives at New Kasuto. Oh man, inside jokes are awesome. Alright, so Anti's going to drop here. Tries to get a jar, does not get a jar there. So if you're Swedish, like it's like a Geico commercial. If you're Swedish, you find red jars. It's what you do. Ceiling walk. Disqualify this guy. That's a major glitch. He's not allowed to do that. Or he is. I forget what the argument is now. But he'll make it this way. This is one of the harder rooms in the game. Just if you're not careful, you don't want to get hit and knocked back by the muse on the ground or the floating unicorn heads. Martin, 2 cycles that key pick up there as a fairy. So certainly on PB pace. It's a fairy required level 6. Obviously, you picked that up a long time ago, though. And he's going to open that key door. And he's going to find a drop in this room, which he's going to take. Not this room. He's got to fight the... He's got to do a Rebo fight first. But in the next room, I promise you, there's a drop he takes. Does Anti have enough magic here? He needs 40... He needs 40. What is he going to do? He's only got about like 37, 38 magic points, I believe. But he doesn't have enough magic to cast. I don't believe he does. Because he needs to cast Fairy on this screen right here. He had just enough. He's a mathematician. He used every single amount of MP he had possible. And he pulled off the fairy cast, and he's at the boss here, Barba. Going with the jackhammer. I'm sorry, Yakhammer, since it is a Swedish restream. And clips through the head and dies. So let's see if he does it again. Now, it looks like he's just going to play it normal here. Get some extra hits on the attack on the way up, and still 1 cycles. So very nice. Martin grabs the Desert Heart container on his way into 6 now as Anti is leaving 6. So what's next for Anti is he's going to go ahead and walk on over to the town of Kasuto. Probably cast Fairy, refill his magic in this encounter. By taking Magic 7. And then he's also going to set it up so he gets another level up later on a Blue Lizalfos kill outside of Great Palace somewhere. So here's the real town of Kasuto, the abandoned town of Kasuto. Needed 8 magic containers here to pick up the spell, which is the most important spell of the game, because you need it to beat it. And that is the Thunder spell. Thunder at Magic 7 costs 100 XP, or MP. It goes down to 64 MP, which is 4 bars if he gets to Magic 8. Which I'm not too sure of the new routing procedures, or if there has been a change in routing procedures, but people normally pick up Magic 8 along the way. Whether it's setting it up to get the level inside a Great Palace, or whether it's on the Blue Lizalfos outside a Great Palace. So the 6,000 you see on the screen is, in fact, Magic 8. See, Antii tags that forest tile, and he's going to make his way through here. One of the things I noticed Antii doing, and I'm not too sure if it's in this category or not, is to use magic here to then refill at the jar in Valley of Death, but it doesn't look like he's doing anything like that. Does the Antii walk, where you go 2 steps left and then 2 steps back. The MC Scat Cat route. And he's going to set up the skip here. So this is where Antii had a little bit of problem in his match against John Wayne and in his PB attempts, practice attempts as well, is his Valley of Death has not been that solid, to be honest. Doesn't go for the jar, had full magic, and it's right here where he does get the encounter skip. The next one seems to be his problem, though. And that's coming up in a few short steps. Does a nice job of not getting hit and knocked in the lava in those encounters, but he got both encounters on the first try, which is good. It's always nice to see somebody who's been struggling finally nail it. And he's in the Valley of Death cave number 1 here. So the Blue Lizalfos gives you 200 XP. That will not be a level up for Antii. He deals with Max by casting the spell. And just avoiding him. That is not the Blue Lizalfos I'm talking about. He's in the next cave. And that's coming up right now. He skipped all 3 encounters. Got a little bit of trouble in that one road encounter to start Valley of Death. But all in all, a good VOD right there for Antii. He's got 5922, so he's set up for magic level 8 in Great Palace. And there is Great Palace right there. It's a full Great Palace. Oh, wait, no, that's a randomizer thing. Sorry. You want to make the first left, get around this spicy chicken, time it right so you don't get hit. Antii gets hit. He has plenty of lives left, but he doesn't know where Martin is at this point. Well, I guess he could know where Martin is if he's watching the restream. That is allowed on one-on-one races. And now we'll just take rights for days here until the very last elevator. Makes his way through this room. This room is free. Martin's going to be on his way to Barba here soon. Has enough magic to cast Fairy when he drops in the next screen. Antii times that one a little bit better, and he's going to go down this elevator again, going through the right. It's the Waffle Room. This is the Scott Bakula room. No, this one is not the Scott Bakula room. My bad. This is just the standard floating head room. Got to be careful not to get hit as you're breaking the blocks. Antii does a little cleanup there. Gets one to spawn behind him, ducks underneath it, and he's through that room. So we have a drop room here. That red chicken knight, Faka, went in on him, so that kind of sucked. So Martin takes a death there against Barba. Messes up the screen scroll. So if you scroll that screen without stopping, you force Barba to spawn in the third pit, So Martin resets it, and let's see what he does. So he's just going to do the standard fight here. Anti's health is beeping. He's going to go for the red jar. Oh, he doesn't get it. He's going to try for it again. And he's 0 for 2. Barba is down on Martin's side. 0 for 3 for Antii. This is flashbacks right here. 1 for 4. So certainly beating the 50-50 odds at 25% for that jar. And here we go. The Scott Bakula room. He casts jump. He's got to get around this blue chicken knight in the middle. He's going to jump, break blocks on his way up, and land on the platform. Best way to minimize the amount of damage you take in that room. Got another down here, followed by another right. Your standard theater room. Just gotta be careful. Not too many things here. Another chicken night. Another spicy chicken. Gets through, and then we're going into this room where the blue knight doesn't go in on him like the red one did. But he still takes a beam in the back. And lo and behold, another down elevator. So there's a fairy in this room if you want to grab it to the right. There's a 1-up in that room, or the next room if you want to grab it to the left. Antii does neither. And he's going to make his way left here. And then come into a room where you drop down here. The 5th and 6th to last blocks. You break and you drop down the floor. He's got to be careful here. Be careful. Oh, he doesn't get it. Can't fool Antii. He knows that trick by now. He's run this game 1,400 times. So we're going to take the drop here. And then if Antii wants, there is a red jar to the left. There's actually potential for 2 of them. But he's got full magic anyway. And we're at Thunderbird here. As Martin does his Valley of Death walk. So again, you have to cast Thunder to reveal Thunderbird's face so you can damage it. Antii elects to cast Jump and just take care of the fight in the middle of the platform rather than making a swinging pendulum. This is very nicely done. There's only one room left, and that is the Darklink fight. As Antii's audio goes out, as most of you guys who have followed Antii and watch him on stream, that happens quite often, but at least we made it to the end here before it happened, and it didn't happen mid-run. This is the last fight. This is Darklink. This is for the game here, for the race. Antii will move to 3-0 in the group. Couple more stabs. Oh, he's going to take a more in-your-face approach at this last thing. He must be watching the restream and knows he's got a comfortable lead, or he doesn't think much of Martin's ability. And he takes the death, so he's got 1 life left. If you game over in Great Palace, you start at Great Palace. So it's not that big of a deal. He's got to walk through the whole thing again, but I don't know if that's really worth doing the swag legit kill here. I think he just wants to get this over with. Darklink jumps in on him, though. Darklink is not making this one easy at all. Gets a couple hits on him, jumps in on him again. A couple more hits here by Antii, though, and it should be over. I believe it's 8 hits no matter what. Oh, and he gets the last hit on it, and Darklink goes down. No fairy cast to end it in soft lock. No fairy cast to end it in soft lock. No controversy at all. There's your winner, Antii85. With a time of 78 minutes and 55 seconds. So it was nicely done right there. As we update the counter, Antii moves to 3-0. Again, that includes a win, a bye-week win. Actually, what does studio mode even do if it updates it live anyway, the text? But we'll just update the things anyway. Moves Antii to 3-0. Martin goes down to 1-1. And we'll see if Antii will join us and talk about his run here as Martin continues on here in Great Palace. Do want to remind everybody that in the tournament there are more matches still to come here. Let's see if I can give you a rundown on what they are. Apparently I cannot. Oh, I can. Oh, hold on 1 second. I got to mute your stream. Do want to remind everybody that in the tournament I got it. Hello,
you
sir.
Okay?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I had a little bit of a fit there because
Okay.
I didn't mute your stream in time. But how are you doing, man? Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm all right. It was a decent run up until Dark Link.
Well, what went well for you there? And what were you surprised about? What were you happy about? And what maybe you can consider working on towards your next match?
I got pretty lucky. I mean, I missed the first 50 bag in the cave, but I got double bags in Palace 1. Got 2 encounters, I think, to Bagu, so that should be better.
Yeah, yeah. You walked from underneath as well. Is that normally what you do, or is that what you do when you get into trouble with encounters?
Yeah. I when I get 2 encounters early like that, it feels safer to go the other way around because you get you delay the second spawn, so it doesn't get in the way.
Okay. One of the things I noticed, and I don't know if this is just me not knowing the newer strats or anything, is that once you didn't get that P bag in Magic Container Cave, is it normal to take the quick life upgrade as well? Because even if you get double bagged, like it's just a bonus.
Exactly. If you get just 1 bag in Palace 1, it doesn't matter. You get attack 3 anyway. So even if you don't take a life upgrade, so I usually just skip the Guria at the heart container south of the palace, and then just go with it. If I get attack 3, I get attack 3.
Okay. Well, you did get the double jar, and you got fortunate. Martin didn't get a double jar. He got a. I'm sorry, you got a double P bag. Martin got a jar. You got the first P bag. The second P bag was a jar. So he was playing from behind there a little bit when it came to attack 3 versus your attack 4 on thing. He's basically having bad luck in all avenues of this game. There was one place in one jar you got in Great Palace where it took you 4 attempts before you got the jar.
Yeah.
I believe Martin just took 11 attempts at the same jar and finally got it. But that's not unlike, that's not unlike the World Championship of the World of the Sweden Randomizer Tournament where he was like 1 in 11 on a jar as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what is it about Swedish people and their fascination with making everybody aware of knowing where all the red jars are?
If I have enough magic in life, I don't go for that jar. Or maybe try once and then just go if I miss it. But I just had like 1 bar of life and 1 bar of magic left, so I had to kind of go for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's easier when you leave the screen because you don't respawn. Those enemies don't respawn until you scroll the screen left a little bit more than where the jar is. So it's a nice safe spot to get that jar, especially if you don't get it the first time. Where do you normally like to take your Magic 8 level up inside a Great Palace?
Kind of where I did right now. Sometimes I have less experience, so then I try to kill the flying heads before falling down those blocks. Because that's like 40 experience right there, and if you don't kill those, you can kill the small bots that comes from the king bot to gather some experience.
Yeah, for those who don't know, if you break apart where Martin just went right there is perfectly timed by Antii. Right there, if you break apart those bots, you can cast spell as well and kill those bots even easier. But I don't know, and still get full bot credit for it XP wise, I believe.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
I don't, I don't know if that's true, the XP wise, but I know if you break apart the King bot and you cast spell, the King bots become regular bots in terms of health, and it's just easier to clear the room that way.
All right.
But I believe there was some sort of trick with the XP as well. Like they kept the Great Palace bot XP. So Martin is at Thunderbird right now. So other than that, like you had a really good walk to and from, well, at least to Darunia.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much a pretty good walk back to Mace Island. I missed one of the skips, and I got 1 encounter, I think.
Yeah, you missed one of the skips, but you went right through it. You didn't try to reset it, and then you got a encounter on the way, and then you got a back spawn just on the last encounter on the forest tile. So you
Yeah.
got fortunate there, and you walked right in. So it was pretty good. So the Bagoo walk, you took 2 encounters. You took 1 encounter, missed the skip on the way there, and you took an encounter here and there. But overall, your overworld was pretty solid. John Wayne does confirm that the bots are at 10 XP each when you cast a spell on a bot.
All right.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So there you go. I taught somebody something. It's just amazing. Who says I'm not qualified to commentate on this tournament?
To be fair, it's not hard to teach me things. It's I know nothing.
I mean, in general, that's why I like talking to Swedish people. Like, really, like, I would like to say no offense.
None taken.
Okay, thank you. Fine. Well, no, we're good. And Martin is done there, and he.
So yeah, congratulations.
Whoa! You want to hit done first before you even join the conversation?
No, I don't actually. Do I have to?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Ness_Martin is now done, or Ness-Martin as he's known in SRL, is now done. Official time of 85 minutes and 52 seconds. Is that a PB?
No, it's about 3.5 minutes behind my PB.
Do you want to talk about your run a little bit?
Yeah, tournament nerves. I'm still shaking. I honestly can't remember a run where I died so much. I had to take a game over at the start of GP because I exhausted all of my lives, and I picked up every single extra life that's in the safe route.
Yeah, you died. You died a few times. You died once outside of Palace 4, I believe it was. You died once inside Palace 4. You died once to Barba.
Yeah, I died twice in Palace 4, and none of those were what do you call them?
Intentional?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go. That's the word. How you feeling, by the way?
My throat is still sore, but I'll survive. Thank you for asking.
Would you like to consider that an excuse as why you lost?
No. I blame my tournament nerves and the lack of practice.
By the way, the one thing I forgot to mention during the race, Martin, was the fact that every time you do a Zelda 2 run now, you always talk about how it's your first run. You haven't done a run in a year.
Yep.
And so this was your first run in at least a year, right?
No, I actually did get some practice. And about 3 weeks ago, I did 1 run. And then yesterday, I finished a run. So yeah, the good thing is at least this time was better than both those runs. So I am apparently improving again.
Do you attribute that to like the cold medication you might have taken?
No, I'm unsure what I should contribute it to.
0 bathroom breaks might be a reason.
Yeah, that might be a reason.
Yeah, Antii, he went to the bathroom 0 times during the race. That's definitely a PB, right?
It has to be.
So do you guys know what your records are against each other, by the way, off the top of your head?
1-1 if you count. I don't think we've had any one-on-one matchup other than the previous World Championship of the World of Sweden.
No, I don't think so. We had some bigger races where both of us played, but none head-to-head.
So you guys have faced head-to-head twice. Antii has won this matchup in the 100% All Keys tournament. Martin, you did win the World Championship of the World of Sweden finals, randomizer finals. So you're 1-1 in head-to-head matchups. You were also in 4 other races together that involved other people. And in total of those 6 races, you're both 3-3.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Martin has won every single rando race, and Antii has won every single 100% All Keys race.
So
That's
yeah, more rando races than Antii.
Yeah, so we have to settle this tiebreaker in a different fashion, maybe a different category or something. Martin, are you planning on running any other categories here?
Well, since Antii pretty much is solid on all the categories, and this is the only category I actually even tried, that's not fair. How about another game?
Let's do Mario 1.
Oh, don't you play that as well?
A little bit.
Would you guys like to do it right now while the restream's up, or are you guys going to go to bed? We have an audience. We have a restreamer. Can I talk you guys into doing anything else additional for these fans? Bonus coverage.
I think I need to tend to my throat actually, so I'm gonna head to bed or something. But yeah, thanks for the offer, Larry.
John Wayne has a point. I don't know RBO, so that could be something.
I don't even know that acronym.
It's reverse backwards octopus. We looked it up before. Me and
Exactly.
Rez. Yeah.
What?
Rez and I looked it up before. Reverse backwards octopus. It's like a tattooing thing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's legit. I mean, you can look in the Discord. That's a legit conversation that happened. So, reverse boss order is the real answer. I found out. Yeah, so there's that. By the way, just to promote something that's on the idea block for anybody who is interested, Antii, what is that tournament that Squibbins was kind of hinting towards? That was that an any % no out of bounds?
100% no out of bounds.
100% no out of bounds. So yeah, so if
Yes.
anybody's interested in that, maybe you should start practicing, and maybe there'll be a tournament for that coming up soon. But there's plenty of all keys tournament matches. Do either of you have a match scheduled coming up?
No, I have one match left, and that's against Jam Evil, but we haven't scheduled it yet.
Actually
So
going to be a good match here. Yeah, I don't see either of you on the schedule, but Pro JN is playing Dark Magician 1184 on your program. That's going to be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Buzz Thunder versus E. Ray Lewis is going to be, what's the day after tomorrow? Is that Thursday? I believe that's Thursday. 7 p.m. Eastern Time for Buzz versus Ray. And then Meg Mac Attack versus Riak. And I probably nailed that pronunciation. Is also on Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Buzz Thunder. No, I'm sorry. JSR2 Gamers versus JLo 7 is 10:15 Eastern Time on that as well. So you can get all your tournament schedule information at the link I'm posting right here. It's a pretty long link. You can get the brackets and such probably here. And make sure you follow the runners Antii, that's 2 I's, ANTII 85, and Ness _ 1 symbol, Martin. And there you go. Anything you guys have to say before we go?
not much. Thanks for doing the restream.
No, thanks for asking me.
Yeah, thank you very much for doing the restream, and thank you, Antii, for the match.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you too.
That is Zelda 1. I'm sorry. I am on the wrong tab. Wow. I didn't mean to promote
And
the wrong
thanks
thing
everybody
there.
for watching.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, and thank you guys for being around and hanging out and doing this. And again, sorry about that. I typoed the wrong challenge website. That is the Zelda 1 randomizer. Don't click that. Click this link that I just posted. That is the... Would you guys found that funny or something? Click the second one, which is the Zelda 100% all keys, Zelda 2 100% all keys tournament. So thanks again, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You got it.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
All right, and thank you for thanking me for thanking you, and thank you for joining us. That is Antii85 with an extra I, defeating Ness Martin with a time of 78 minutes 55 seconds to 85 minutes 52 seconds. And make sure you check that schedule and check the tournament page for more races still to come. Have a great day, everybody.